Hey guys! Question. What do fruit juice left out way too long and beer have in common? Answer. Alcohol. But what is alcohol actually? That's what we're gonna be looking at in today's video. So, alcohol. Most of you probably know the word when it's referring to drinking alcohol or ethanol. You know, the stuff you find in beer, wine, liquor and old fruit juice. But alcohol and alcohol aren't one and the same. Okay, let's start from the very beginning. So I'm sure you've heard of alkanes, right? You haven't? No big deal. Here's a brief summary. Alkanes are basically just sequences of carbon and hydrogen atoms. That's really all you need to know for now. So we've got these carbon atoms and they've bonded to hydrogen atoms. One example would be methane, the simplest of the alkanes. One carbon, 4 hydrogens, and bam! That's how easy chemistry is. If you want to know more about alkanes, just check out our video on them. You can find it right here. But how do we get from an alkane to an alcohol? An alcohol is defined as an alkane plus a hydroxyl group. And now I bet you're asking what a hydroxyl group is, huh? Good question. And here's a good answer. It's an OH group. An alcohol is an alkane with an OH group. And what does that look like exactly? Well, we'll show you using our friend methane, who you've already met. Methane is 1 carbon and 4 hydrogens. Now let's take away one of those H's and slap an OH on there. And ta-da! Ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you the simplest of all the alcohols, methanol! As you've probably already noticed, there's some similarity to the way alkanes and alcohols are named. Alcohols are actually named for alkanes. Just take the name of the alkane, drop the final E and add the suffix OL. And that's it. Alkane minus E plus OL. For this reason, they're also called alkanols. So from methane, we get methanol. From ethane, we get ethanol, and so on. Alright kids, always remember, alcohols are derived from alkanes by replacing one of the hydrogens in the alkane with an OH group. To name it, just take the alkane, drop the E and add the ending OL. And then we have our alcohol. Cool. So now that we know a bit about alcohols in general, we still want to know how they're classified and what categories they fall into. Alcohols are divided into primary, secondary and tertiary alcohols, and you might also hear about monohydric or polyhydric alcohols. Let's start with primary, secondary and tertiary alcohols. Basically, these just refer to how many carbon atoms are bonded with the carbon atom that's also bonded with the OH group. In primary alcohols, you've got 1 carbon bonded to the carbon with the OH group. Secondary alcohols, on the other hand, have 2 carbon atoms bonded to the carbon atom with the hydroxyl group. And tertiary alcohols have 3. Okay, we can also classify alcohols as either monohydric or polyhydric. This refers to the number of OH groups found in the alcohol. Monohydric alcohols have just 1 OH group. This is the case with all the alcohols we've seen so far. Polyhydric alcohols have more than 1 hydroxyl group. Dihydric alcohols have 2 OHs. Trihydric alcohols have 3 OHs. And so it goes on. Now if an alcohol has more than 1 OH group, we're also going to give it a different name. The positions of the OH groups in the molecule are designated by numbers after the name of the parent alkane, and the number of OH groups is indicated by a Greek prefix. So what did we just learn? Alcohols can be classified into 2 different ways. One way is to divide them into primary, secondary and tertiary alcohols. The other way is to count the number of OH groups. Let's go through all this stuff again by looking at an example. We'll be taking a good look at plain old drinking alcohol, ethanol. Okay, so let's start with the alkane, ethane. We replace one of the hydrogens with an OH group. Then we rename our ethane by cutting off the final E and adding OL. And there you have it, ethanol in name and structure. That's the alcohol in beer and liquor if you recall. So we're ready for the next party. Now if we were to take an H off the other carbon and replace it with an OH, we'd get a dihydric alcohol, ethane 1,2-diol. So what have we learned? Alcohols are alkanes with an OH group. They're named for the parent alkane and they take the suffix OL. There are primary, secondary and tertiary alcohols. Alcohols can also be classified by the number of hydroxyl groups. If you still want to know how alcohols behave in reactions, just keep clicking ahead. See you in the next video.